How's it going? How's it going, family? Hope everybody's doing good out there. Today, we're doing something different. We are going to be doing a reaction video. I usually don't do reaction videos, but today we are doing a reaction video. A video came across my desk, and I watched the intro of it, and just from the intro alone, it I don't know, it touched me some type of way. It's just the way that let's watch it. Let's just get into it. Let's do it.
It's almost like being in a supermarket for reptiles. So there's just row upon row of shelves or boxes or tubs filled with exotic animals.
Okay. A supermarket for reptiles. He's walking into a convention, okay, where, people who like to collect or preserve these animals gather to, exchange stuff. I bought some of my first ball pythons from conventions. I actually got our reptile expos, as we call them. It's just disgusting. You can tell this guy, just from the get-go, you can tell that he's just trying to bash the ball python world. This is crazy. Let's keep it going.
The United States of America, a country famous for trendsetting and its influence on popular culture. However, over recent years, the USA has also become known as a global hotspot for the exotic pet industry. Recent estimates suggest that more than 17 million exotic pets are currently inhabiting American households, with one group of animals making up more than half the total: reptiles. Meeting up with World Animal Protection's Global Head of Campaigns, Cassandra Conan, we headed to one of the many regional reptile expos occurring regularly across the country. Hopefully here we'd be able to find...
Seemed like Cassandra is going to be like the Carol Baskins of this video. Just from the image I just got from her, it seems like I haven't even seen this yet, but just from that glimpse of her, I don't know. I got a bad feeling about her. Let's keep watching.
Find out exactly what was happening with pet reptiles in the USA.
It's almost like being in a supermarket for reptiles. So there's just row upon row of shelves or boxes or tubs filled with exotic animals.
Whilst there was an enormous variety of reptiles on display, one species was clearly much more popular than any other: the ball python.
That's crazy. What is this? This looks like a spider, pastel spider. If I had to guess, I would say calico. The spider has that high white on the sides too. I find it crazy that they show a spider ball python. Let's keep it pushing.
This is quite a bizarre experience. Your whole life you're taught to keep away from snakes, and now suddenly I'm here at an expo in Memphis, and there are a ton of people just walking around with snakes actually on their head.
That's funny, because when I first, the way I got into ball pythons is I was scared of snakes, scared of spiders. I went to my local pet shop, and I was actually going there looking at tarantulas, and the guy introduced me to a ball python, and I fell in love with it. And that's how I got over my fear of snakes. And that's when I started really learning about snakes. Crazy.
Speaking to a vendor, I got an insight into what drives the demand for ball pythons as pets.
Do they mind being kept in these cases?
Obviously the lights and the people and everything, it's probably a little, but I mean, I'm not in the snake's mind. I can't tell you how much it's bothering it.
So why is that one so much more expensive than these ones?
It's got 2 more genes in it. This is just a single gene here, to where this has got 3 genes stacked on it.
The more colourful, the more they're worth.
Like if it's something that's brand new, you might be talking 20, 25K. And
For a single snake?
Yeah.
And people will pay that?
Oh yeah, there's been, like the bananas, I think the first banana sold for 50K.
So do you breed all these as well, or?
I bred everything that's on this table, except this one is my new baby.
This one here?
Yes, but everything else here, or was here, I was bred at my house.
Yeah.
Hatched at my house.
Yeah.
With information gathered and keen not to overstay our welcome, we called time.
With information gathered, they haven't asked, they asked, did you breed these yourself? How come these are so expensive? With information we gathered, like they didn't ask anything like, how do you guys keep these animals when they're not on display? What's the, what do you feed them? What's a good temperature, heat temperature? Do they like to roam around, or do they like to just barrel up? Like, no information about it at all. But they gathered a lot of information.
In the expo. Later on, we had a chance to put what we had seen into perspective.
How stressful do you think it would be for the snakes to be under these bright lights all day, to be constantly picked up by people, to have no access to food, no access to water?
It would be extremely stressful for them to be in those kinds of conditions. These animals are not being allowed to display their instincts, their natural instincts. They aren't in any.
She doesn't know what she's talking about. I wonder how many expos she's been on or been at. Like, who says she's qualified to even have an opinion? It's probably her first reptile expo to go to, and she is, this is crazy.
Kind of natural setting that allows them to fully extend, which is what they do when they eat. Doesn't allow them to explore. There isn't the proper, enrichment.
What was so fascinating was just how many different types of colours and patterns there were, and that was all from one species, just ball pythons.
Part of this industry is this desire to have the most unique, the most interesting animal that has created this cottage industry where they are, changing the genetics of these animals and breeding them to get unique colors, unique designs.
If you look in films, you look in popular culture, snakes are always animals to be feared. Do you think that there is a perception that snakes aren't sentient beings?
To most of us, they're not cute, they're not cuddly, and so we assign a different value.
Let's look at Carol Baskins for a minute. Look like some poop is coming out of her mouth. Why would they? It seems like the questions he's asking her is, should we fear snakes always? And breeding these snakes and making these snakes better and more colorful is making them less fearful. So people shouldn't have snakes because to some people they're not cuddly. This is crazy. Why would you want anybody to fear an animal? That's, you kill what you fear. Like, I don't understand. Let's go back to Carol.
Value to them. They're really like products in a box, and is that how we want to be treating animals? And I would argue no, that it's time that we make a change and that we allow animals to live the lives they deserve.
All of the exhibitors that we spoke to yesterday, including this gentleman, said that they were breeding ball pythons. But do you know anything about the import of these snakes?
there is still a very large market for wild-caught snakes. If you go online, you're able to purchase them with no problem. So they may not have been for sale yesterday when we were observing them, but it is entirely possible that the wild-caught snakes.
They're at an expo. Of course, the ones they're observing was for sale. That's what they do at expo. They sell snakes. That's how you know she doesn't know anything about what she's talking about. She's, you know, I don't know. He didn't give any background of her expertise. Like, she's a snake enthusiast. She helps protect ball pythons in the wild. You know, just in 2000, there was over 1 million wild ball pythons, and now there's only 100,000 left in the year 2020 because of ball python breeding, and she's an expert at those numbers. Nothing. She's just a regular person who knows nothing about ball pythons giving her opinion. Like, I'm not even qualified to give the statements that she's giving, and I breed ball pythons. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I study them day by day. I spend at least an hour of my day looking up ball pythons, and this lady knows nothing. Let's see what else they go through.
Part of that breeding process at some point.
Whilst it was clear that pythons were being treated as a commodity, some questions still played on my mind. Where exactly did wild pythons fit into the picture? And what was life like for these snakes behind the scenes, away from the well-lit showcase put forward at the expos? It was time to leave the US and take this investigation international. Travelling to the Czech Republic, I went to meet up with an old friend and exotic pet expert, Dr. Sid Notek, at the University of Brno.
That looks painful.
Yeah, it's very painful. The old skin have to go out and must be new skin, which takes weeks, sometimes even months.
How did this snake sustain these injuries, do you think?
It received the injuries from sitting on the stone, maybe a long time, and they received the burns of the back.
Okay. This right here can happen. That's why, as a breeder, we don't do tanks. We don't do hot stones. We do heat tape, heat strips. It happens. This is why we keep them in a snake rack and not in a tub, where things like this can happen, or a tank with a heat rock or a heat lamp. So I don't know about this video or whatever this is. I think they could have did better journalism. It just, everything's us. It's just, I wish somebody else can do a video to combat this, like to really show what this is all about, why we do this, and give some education on ball pythons, like some real education on like their living environments, what they really like, you know, how in the wild, they're getting picked off by wild dogs, birds, and you know, they're not an apex predator out there. So I don't know, I feel what we're doing is actually saving them, giving them better homes, meals. They can actually live up to 20 plus years in captivity, just because they don't need a big backyard. They're not looking for, 100 feet of space. They like those tight, confined spots. But yeah, you guys go watch this video. It's pretty long. It's like 23 minutes long. I'm not gonna go through the whole video. But I hope you guys liked this reaction video. I'll probably do some more, maybe not on subjects like this, like documentaries or things like that. Probably do some more on stuff I actually like talking about, maybe like morphs, some egg cutting, I don't know. But I hope you guys like this video. And yeah, that's about it, man. Peace out.